is a place where all can go when all feel low, when all feel blue. Dukey, you know what place I go to? I go up north, don't I, to see me pigs. Except you know what happens when I go up north to see me pigs? You have part two of Brucey and the Spencer. The sexy sexinesses, both of them. That's what you have. You have part two, don't you? And you know what I think of that? I think it's a big number two that I wasn't able to see a minute.
It's the Dukey Radio Show.
Hello. With me in the studio, Sylvia Silversmith.
Hello, everyone.
And Marsha MacDonald.
Yeah, what up, peeps?
This is part two of our two-part interview with Spencer Brown and Bruce Thomas. At the beginning of this episode, and indeed part one, Irene, despite singing songs from Spencer and Bruce with great aplomb, she made references to the fact that she was not around to meet their respective sexinesses, her phraseology, not mine. And to be fair, you guys weren't around either.
I wasn't here.
You were away.
Irene wasn't here either. So, and Martha, you didn't come over either. And no, I was at work too. So, none of us were able to partake.
So basically, you're saying that the lot of you were working for a living and we were just having fun.
We were all working for a living. I was in Manchester.
Right. Irene was also up north, looking after pigs.
Something about pigs?
Yes.
Oh, that's something to do with her family history or something.
Mind you, for Irene, going up north might be visiting Watford or Hemel Hempstead.
That is true. Although, if that's the case, I kind of agree with her on that one. Because once I'm on the train, once I'm hitting, Watford, which for people who don't know isn't actually that far outside of London, for me, I'm up north.
Right.
That's, because I'm a Londoner through and through, and I'm like, for me, like, I don't know, where's the place, like, that you go through just before you leave London? Is it like Hendon?
It's called Euston.
Well,
King's
yes.
Cross.
Euston, I feel like,
or
is kind of north, yeah.
Or Waterloo, or
but
Victoria.
What is it? Is it Hendon, like, where there's a really big Jewish community? What's the name of that place? Is that Hendon?
Hendon.
And that's like the last neighborhood kind of place before you actually leave London, right? When you're in a car.
Yes, it's where Greater London turns into Hertfordshire.
Yes. So for me, that's up north.
Right, so Hertfordshire is the north.
That's the north.
Right.
That is the north.
So basically, as soon as you cross the Greater London Hertfordshire border,
yes,
is where dripping and chips
that's
and gravy and
chips.
bitter
Absolutely.
is consumed, flat caps, and your ale.
It's true,
right.
Dukey.
The north begins.
And I'm not being disparaging. I love Manchester muchly. I had a very nice time there. I love Manchester muchly. They do a really good Lady Garden refurbishment there.
Right. I gather we're not talking about landscaping of one's house and gardens.
Well, landscaping of one's something.
Right, excellent.
Every time I go to Manchester, which is quite frequently, I go up there 3 or 4 times a year, I always have my Lady Garden refurbished.
Right.
Because
they're just mad for it.
They're just mad for it. For some reason, it's just better up there. I mean, I've had it done in London, not far from where we all live. But, for some reason, I save it up for Manchester.
Since the success of Oasis, the civic pride has increased so much that vaginal maintenance is now at a very high level.
Yeah, there was only one problem, wasn't there, Sylv? That the place had closed down. So you had to go somewhere else, right?
Well, yes. So they didn't only refurbish my lady garden. Did you want to hear about this?
Oh, bring it on. You
Do you
started.
think Bruce and Spencer... See, I know I've been quite quiet lately on this show.
This is true.
Which we can talk about another time.
Perhaps it was due to the fact that you were waiting for
possibly
lady garden maintenance. But now that it's been done, you're back to you're back to yourself. You're back to the start in terms of how you are as a person.
We got Syl back. Because I live with her, and I know that, this year, she's been a little quiet. She's been, things have been tough for Syl, but things have kind of turned around. And isn't it nice, Dukey, to have Syl back?
It's lovely.
Isn't it nice?
Yes.
I can stop crying in quiet coaches now, Dukey.
Did this happen to you?
Yes, because I always take the quiet coach, and I don't really know why, but we can talk about that another time. So anyway, back to lady.
The fact that you mentioned that, though, makes me wonder whether or not you receive any dirty looks from your fellow passengers for making crying noises in said coach.
I think that we need to reserve more time to talk about the quiet coach.
Fair enough.
Because I've been subjected to many dirty looks. And I'm not a noisy person. I respect the quiet coach massively. So anyway, back to Lady Garden. So I always go to the same place in Manchester. And they're on Oxford Road, in case anyone's going there or you live there, because they are really nice and they're really amazing. But when I got there to the normal place, they said, we've moved.
Right.
Because not only are they refurbishing Lady Gardens, they're also refurbishing their premises.
Right.
So they'd moved. They said, we're in the building around the back. Now, so you go around to this Jack the Ripper parking lot in the back where this Gothic building is looming out of the darkness. Because by the time I got there, it was getting dark. And it's looming out like Amityville Horror. Do you remember that movie, Dukey?
I certainly do.
It's looming over me. And I walk in there, and it's like this municipal building where, there's, dirty carpets, and everything's broken, and there's all these handrails around for just, I don't know, in case you're going to trip in the gloom in the hallways and stuff. And, I don't know, it's kind of like the Department of Motor Vehicles building from the 1970s. Can you imagine? Can you picture that, Dukey?
It sounds like any kind of building like that in 2017.
Okay, so everything...
Because it dates back to the 70s, yes.
Yes, so everything's all the walls are exposed breeze blocks. Seriously, I'm not exaggerating.
Sounds like a prison.
Yeah, like a prison. So, and I meet them and they go, you need to go upstairs and wait at the top of the stairs. So I waited at the top of the stairs, next to the boiler pipes, exposed boiler pipes and breeze blocks. And I thought, I don't want to get my vagina out in here. I have to get my vagina out in here. So then they took this enormous open plan office and they had to divvy it up using these wicker, what do you call them? Room dividers?
Partitions.
But
wicker partitions.
Not office partitions, but wicker room dividers that maybe your grandmother would have had.
Right.
Thinking, I want to divide the sitting room from the living room kind of thing.
Maybe one of the people who runs this business, their grandparent did indeed own one of those wicker partitions.
Well, they must have owned a lot of them.
And little did she know that they would eventually be used to divide up Lady Garden maintenance duties in a former prison.
So we're under these kind of, strip light, UV, the strip lights that you get in open plan municipal offices. And everything's divided up with these wicker and covered in old towels and stuff like that. So firstly, I'm thinking, I really don't want to get my fanny out in here. And secondly, you can hear everything that's going on because the person next to you is a foot away from you, and all you've got is a little wicker divider. So you're hearing, you're hearing, well, have you shaved it down? And no, I haven't shaved it down recently. I don't want to be hearing about your pubis. And I'm sure you don't want to be hearing about mine. But
I disagree with that. This is riveting conversation.
And then, you get all the... And all this, and Dukey, that was my experience in Manchester with having my Lady Garden maintained.
All this talk about the maintenance happening in one's undercarriage makes me think about Fatboy Slim. And
well, I was thinking about that video when I was lying there.
A track called Bushes.
Yes, I was thinking those women were very brave to put their hands up for that.
Well, and their fannies out for it.
Although I have to say that I don't find it all that painful.
Right.
Like, yeah, I think I might make an ooh face, but it's kind of not. I don't find it, like, I'm not screaming and laughing and giggling like you see on a lot of these shows, especially when they do men. When they wax men are just like screaming and like freaking out.
Pain threshold and males. It's a weird dynamic.
I think it's because they leave the hair too long. Men do.
There is that.
Like, it has to be really shorty sort, and then it doesn't hurt as much.
Right. Thank goodness
Did
I'm
you
a
need to
hairless
know that,
wonder.
Dukey?
I did. I feel enlightened having discovered that.
I should also say that I was working in Manchester. I was working with some prison officers.
Is there a link between your Lady Garden maintenance and working with
I don't
Mancunian prison
I
officers?
don't know, but I was thinking when I was working with these lovely prison officers, and they were very lovely, the next day I was thinking, I have a nice refurbished Lady Garden. And I hope you kind of know that in some sense.
Why are you walking a bit strangely?
Because I have a nicely refurbished Lady Garden.
There you go. That is the answer. And Marcia, does Sylvia seem a different person post Lady Garden maintenance?
Yeah, Dukey, she's walking with a lighter step.
Right.
But, that might just be because, I think she's just kind of feeling a little bit perkier.
Perky
she's
is a
back to
good
her
word.
perky self. I don't know if you noticed.
I have.
Which is good,
It's very good.
Because then I can go back to being, whatever I am, which isn't perky.
Right.
Definitely not perky.
Maybe you need some maintenance.
No, I'm all right. I'm all right. I don't mind not being perky, and I don't mind not being maintained. I like things to be
Natural.
the way nature intended.
Right.
I'm not saying that I have a problem, Sylv, brilliant. Yeah, that's great. But, I don't care.
Right, okay.
Right? I just don't care.
You need to find your own Manchester.
Yeah, and you know what I
Or
worry?
not.
You know what I worry? I need to find my own Manchester. Is that like a new euphemism for like having a great big natural bush? I remember, because I know that you really love Chelsea Handler, the comedian.
Yes.
And I remember her saying that
I
she went and got her Lady Garden all lasered. Which takes a long. That must be really expensive and take a long time.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, it's a big commitment. And then so what a big commitment. And then what happened is that whoever decides these things, with fashion, they said that the big 70s bush is back in fashion, right? Like you can have a fashionable bush. But anyway, that's what happened. And she was like, well, fuck, man, what am I going to do now? I've had all mine lasered off.
Merkin.
Yeah, so, what am I going to have to do? Buy a merkin? So, I'd rather just keep it the way nature intended. I don't care. I don't want to have to go through that. I'm not that great with pain. And I don't want anybody, I don't want a stranger fiddling about with my vagina. If I can have anybody fiddling.
Are you talking about a recent date?
Well, no, I mean, if I'm going to let you fiddle around my vagina, let's have a coffee first and at least make sure that I like you. You know what I mean? I don't want to get done with having you fiddle about with my fanny and then go, you know what? You're kind of an asshole. I don't want that. I'm not saying I've never had that, but it's just I don't like it. You want it, don't you want to like the person who's kind of fiddling around with your parts? Don't you want to kind of feel positive towards them?
Certainly.
I understand.
Yeah, I completely get it.
You don't want to get done with your kind of business.
Right.
God, that sounds like a dog.
You
That's
don't want
gross.
to complete your business.
You don't want to complete. You don't want to kind of have a fade out on what you've just been doing. I'm not as diplomatic as you, Dukey. I can't do this shit. You don't want to finish and then find out that the person voted for Trump. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Can you imagine?
I can imagine.
Can you imagine, Dukey, that you've just had intimate relations with somebody and then they I don't know, roll over, light up a cigarette. Not that anybody does that anymore, and don't do it because it's bad for you. But they roll over, they light up a cigarette, and they go, now, how about that Trump? Now, he's doing an amazing job. I'm really glad I voted for him.
But doesn't that open up the gates, as it were, and I don't mean that as a euphemism, for a hate fuck?
Yeah, see, I don't, but I don't know what you're Dukey. I've never done that, and nor do I want to. And I don't really want to know whether you have either, because that might sully my positive feelings towards you. Dukey, I hate fuck. Really?
I hate fuck. Not
what
in a
is that
violent,
even?
not in a violent way, but in a passionate.
You mean like when you're really angry with someone?
Yes.
Or that you actually hate them?
Well, no, it's just
How many times have you done that? No, I'm with Martha. I don't want to know.
Congress with passion.
Congress? Yeah. Congress? Oh my gosh. Dukey. Congress. I'm just stuck on Congress. I'm really sorry, Martha. You're going to have to take over. Congress? Really?
Congress.
Yeah, but there's a difference between passion and hatred. I mean, isn't hatred... I mean, if you have to work up a hate for somebody... I mean, anyway.
This dynamic was illustrated quite beautifully in Curb Your Enthusiasm, where Larry David, also known as Lawrence David, his character meets a Palestinian woman, and it involves a great deal of, is it hate, is it love? It's certainly loud and passionate.
Fuck me, you fucking Jew!
Filthy Jew! Filthy Jew!
Fucking Jew! You Zionist pig! You occupying fuck!
I'm an
Occupy
occupier.
this.
I'm an occupier.
Yeah, I'm going to fuck the Jew out of you! Yeah.
That's not so easy.
You wanna fuck me like Israel fucked my country? Show me what you
Reminds me of what something Theodore Herzl once said.
Show me the promised land, huh? Fuck me like Israel fucks my people!
There's a lot of, fuck me like you fuck my country.
That's pretty funny. All right, I might have to see that one. Sylvia doesn't like that show, so I don't like that show at all. I really don't like it.
I'm sorry. Well, I won't subject you to it.
That is quite funny line, though, I must say. But Dukey, no, I hate fuck, no. Yeah, I mean, what I mean is I just don't want to be getting intimate with anyone who I don't like. I mean, it's not like I have to love you. I mean, I don't, you can have sex without, but, I just don't want to actively dislike you. I don't want to be repulsed by like your politics or your morals and then know that you are in intimate acquaintance with my vagina.
Right.
That's what I don't like because it makes me feel a little gross.
Well, I wouldn't want you to feel gross.
Yeah, you don't want to feel gross. I'm not saying it's never happened. I'm just saying, I don't like it.
The bottom line is, if you're going to have any jiggery and or pokery.
And pokery, indeed.
Taking place around the undercarriage.
Yes.
You really don't want to have wicker partitions around you, do you?
You definitely don't want wicker partitions. You definitely don't. And, the people who do the waxing there, they're always very nice, which is part of the reason I go there. But the wicker partitions, oh, my word. I should say, I don't want to do them out of business. They are moving back into the other place after it's refurbished, much like my Lady Garden was. So, you just got to put up with it.
And
I'm not saying I like spa surroundings. It's not mega luxurious. You just don't want wicker partitions.
Of all the cities that you've travelled to, up and down the country.
Yes, he said country.
There have been many, Dukey.
And you do travel a great deal.
I do.
In England and Scotland and Wales.
And Wales, yes.
And Northern Ireland.
I have also worked in Ireland, it's true.
You have chosen Manchester for your vaginal maintenance needs.
And I don't know why I can't remember how I originally just decided. Part of the reason is because it's cheaper. Because London is an extremely expensive city to live in, as we all know.
But you've been to, Aberdeen, Fife, Scottish people, surely.
Listen, Dukey.
No. Oh, mind you, maybe they would overcharge if you consider some attitudes towards Scottish people.
Dukey.
Scottish people, we love you. We're laughing with you.
I've also been to Gloucester. Okay, nobody needs to be getting their vagina out in Gloucester. Okay, you know what I mean?
What about Cheltenham?
I haven't been to Cheltenham, but I guess the thing is that in London, when you're thinking about lady part maintenance, you have two choices, and they're very stark choices. You can either go to like a spa that is ultra luxurious, where they give you a robe to change into, a big fluffy robe, where, you know, they massage you, where it's just the ultimate, and you know, it's like an hour out of your day. So that's on the one side. Or if you're in London, you get, and I kid you not, there is a place in Liverpool Street Station that is grotty McGrot-grots. I mean, it's in the station, so you're like, you've got all the smog and the bustle and the noise while you're lying.
And the announcements.
And yeah, you get the announcements too.
The 2:22 for Stowmarket is delayed.
Exactly. And they've got like a partition thing, and it's fine, but it's a bit kind of, and they leave like the waxing strips from other people. The used waxing strips.
Right.
Like, they're all kind of out there.
Keep it classy.
So you see what I mean? In London, I can't find a middle ground. I can't find, like, this place in Manchester, which is, it's not luxury, but it's also not grotty revolting. It's just a place where you're just going to walk into, you're going to maintain my lady garden, and in 20 minutes, I'm going to be out of there. So I can't find that in London, so that's partly why.
But there are other cities that you've been to.
You mean, like, could I go to...
You know, what about Tyneside?
Well,
I'm sure they love to, you know, wax the hell out of some pubis in the heart of, you know, Newcastle.
I was in Liverpool, but they seem more eyebrow focused. Have you been to Liverpool?
Many, many times.
What is with the eyebrows? I started feeling like I'm the only woman here that doesn't have those really, really groomed eyebrows. I feel like a slob.
Eyebrows, extensions. It is a bit of a departure from the days where you would just see chaps wearing tracksuits and...
It's gotten a lot better than
tashes.
Dukey, I think the thing is that if you're going to entrust your lady parts to some stranger, that you want to go to where you know that, you know, it's kind of like friends with benefits, right? You know, it's tried and tested. You know that it's going to be fine.
These are big words from a person who doesn't engage with such activities.
She's right, though, Dukey.
Right.
Well, yeah, but I get my hair done, right? Get the hair on my head done.
Right.
And it's like, well, you know, once you find a person who's going to be cool
We're
with
talking about the hair on your head, yes?
Yeah, with your crowning glory,
Right.
then you want to go back there. You know, why risk going anywhere else? Yeah, that's exactly it. Exactly. And in Manchester, I went there once and I thought it's really fine. You know, it's fine. It's all good. They're very nice. They're very quick.
You've worked in Cardiff. Why didn't Cardiff really attract you as a place to go and get your bits waxed?
Listen, I'm not getting my vagina out in Cardiff, okay?
Right.
The first time I went to Cardiff, I just thought, when can I get out of Cardiff? It's gotten much nicer now. There's a Vivian Westwood there.
So maybe it might be.
Maybe next time.
Maybe it'll be a contender.
I don't go to Wales as much. I mean, I've only been to Wales a few times, whereas I go to Manchester a lot.
So the regularity of your visits to this major conurbation.
Yes.
And the fiscal side of things. It's attractive from a price point of view.
Yes.
And you like the way that Mancunian people, apply whatever apparatus.
It's not too much fuss, but it's not much fuss. You know, it's just it's like the Goldilocks of waxing.
The Goldilocks of waxing.
They should call it Goldilocks Wax. That'd be a good name, actually.
You know, you could set up a new organisation that does this in Manchester.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I don't want to take business away from this place you've been going to regularly.
Of course, because they're very good.
Or maybe they can rebrand themselves.
Yes.
Mad for it. With
Dukey.
Instead of FER.
Yes, I get it.
FUR.
Yeah, we get it, Dukey. You're good at stuff like that. You should just tout yourself out as a guy who comes up with names for stuff. Like, you want to name your band? Well, Dukey is your guy.
Have you seen the names of the bands I've played with? I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I'm hearing about something called Flesh Tetris.
Yes, more about that another time.
Okay.
Flesh Tetris sounds like what one has to do in order to remove unwanted vaginal hair. And continuing with the topic of vaginal hair removal, here's Spencer Brown and Bruce Thomas.
My name's Spencer Brown. My favourite word is
Gusset.
My name's Bruce Thomas, and my favourite word is epiphany.
My name is Dukey, and my 13th favourite word is multi-instrumentalist. Spencer, let's talk.
So I can play many things badly. But no, I mean...
Including modesty.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the main thing is guitar. I'm a fair guitarist, and then keyboards I just about get away with. Bass, just run-of-the-mill bass, fairly standard lines that, like we were saying earlier, but, I was just putting down sort of block stuff just to get an idea of what the sort of requirements were. And drum programming, I guess not bad.
No, good.
But overall, I'd got used to sort of working that way over the years, and this was just like the Uber version of that, with a bit of guidance.
I think if we ever did anything,
get a real keyboard player.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think if we ever did another album with a bit more musical sophistication, where we went in the Steely Dan direction, rather than the retro pop direction, because there's a couple of a bit sort of nods towards the Dan on the record here and there.
Yes, tiny elements. Which
and
you can hear on the guitars as well.
Think
nods to Walter.
I
think we'd maybe need a keyboard player if we wanted to go a bit further.
So I'm kind of functional multi-instrumentalist, I'd get by. I actually, to be honest with you, I think of myself as a fairly functional singer as well. I wouldn't say that
I think you're a good singer.
Oh, well, thank you.
I
don't know. What can I say?
Good voice. It's a good. What I liked about when it kicked off on the original project, when he sent me "Fall on You," which was the first track, and the first thing I heard was that guitar. Drank the guitar figure, it sounds a bit like one of the guitars. What's the one on Ram or ding ding ding. Let me roll it to you. That kind of thing. That multi and
mine as well.
and it's a bit Lennon-esque as well. That kind of that. 3 or 4 guitars doing that, and then I thought his voice is quite Lennon-esque actually. In that, it's quite very nasal, more so than Liam Gallagher, and I think and it's that. That kind of that. Oh yeah, oh no, that's all very big. I thought, right. So let's get a bit. And I thought the chords are actually a bit like "Free as a Bird." I can see where this is going. This is the old descending line. So let's just do the.
But then again, folks. While I think of it, I don't even know if I've ever said this to you. Free as a bird. I suddenly realised one day. Free as a bird. And I'm playing the chords through, and I thought, what's this remind me of? It's Sleepwalk.
Oh yeah, Santa and Johnny.
It's the same chord progression. Try it out at home.
Albatross.
Everyone. Yeah, there's another one.
You Google it, Santa and Johnny. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, the thing is that line's been used a million times because it's it was part of the famous Spirit Led Zeppelin lawsuit.
Oh, God.
Descending chord sequence, with the A, G, A, F in the bass, down to E7 thing. So.
Very few things that are fully original.
Oh, certainly, as you both hinted at earlier, you steal from many eras.
Just reframe it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's a.
Well, I used to. I mean, I've always, I could take you through pretty much every bass line I've done and tell you where where it came from.
But I mean, you were quite upfront as well in saying when we came to do Little as a Lot, you were saying, well, in the attractions days, we'd look at something and say, we want to use what you're going to do about it as a template or something like that.
What you're going to do about it was a template for You Belong to Me, which is but when we did the live version of You Belong, which is just E to D or whatever it is, or you've got what like bloody key it's in anymore. It's the small faces, isn't it? And what you're going to do, and Solomon Burke and all sorts of people have used that. Yeah. When we got to the end, when it all got excited, that was the bass line I went into on live that I use on this track on the record. The ascending bass line is just the ride out of the stage version of You Belong to Me. So I was stealing from myself, stealing from the small faces,
third generation
stealing from Solomon Burke.
It's a bit like the notion of somebody finding a spanner that goes back to the medieval era. But over the years and centuries, people have replaced.
It's the brush with 3 new handles and 5 new bristles.
Yes.
Trigger's broom.
It's still the same spade, but it's
different handle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in fact, that's how I want you to see the album.
There's continuity.
It's like a spade that has none of the original parts. It's still an original spade.
There's the subheading. Yeah. The strap line.
That in a way is a push an epiphany. But when it came to mixing, I understand that things got a little bit
heated,
hot under the collar. Yes.
My bright idea was not to use a sensible room with no echo. I decided to mix it in the conservatory, overlooking the garden, because I thought it'd be nice to have a bit of, instead of being in a dark and dusty room, we get a nice summery kind of vibe going.
For that Alan Titsmarsh sound.
Yeah, exactly, and then it turned out to be the hottest bloody day of the year.
The one that we had.
One of them. And well, no, it was pretty hot for times this year, wasn't it? Yeah. It got really hot some days this year. It was end of July, it was, wasn't it? And it's all right, this is all right. And then the clouds dispersed, and it was like so hot you couldn't obviously see the computer screen. Yeah. And it was really... So I ended up... We tried it with a sun... We put a sun hat on it first, and then I stood for quite a lot of the session with holding a parasol over the head and the computer, which happened to be
a pink parasol.
Pink parasol, yeah.
Just to complete the look.
Fortunately, no one was there with a smartphone to take the picture.
What a great way to describe the album. If you meet somebody who wants to inquire about what it's like, it sounds like
very sunny,
pink parasols and sun
floppy
hats.
Wow. How did you know?
You're everywhere, and we should have done Hi Ho Silver Lining, shouldn't we?
Hi Ho Silver Gusset
and Corby trouser presses. Those 3 things together really gives you the whole back to the start sound. That's the real concept of the album. So you're getting hot under the collar. You required pink parasols, or rather, you used or did you actually require the pink parasol, or did you that's what was hanging around there? I just want to know how much of a diva.
It was found art.
It was found art.
It wasn't,
right.
It had to,
I had to just come up with some. I tried building a tent out of a newspaper for a while, didn't it? Till it collapsed.
Yeah, we built a kind of cool.
We could have moved in. It would have been easier if we moved to another room, given all the things I tried to do to keep the sun out.
And also,
the sun out.
And it was hot.
British summer means that the sunset is at midnight.
It wasn't just it wasn't just the light. It was the blooming heat, wasn't it? It was
and the
really
equipment
hot.
was overheating as well, which was the other thing. We had problems with the laptop by then.
Yeah.
Well, hang on, laptops. I understand you were using reel-to-reel and exclusively vintage gear. I'm deeply disappointed.
It was a vintage. It was a vintage laptop.
Was it a vintage laptop?
Actually, was to be honest.
I said
I think it was the prototype. To be honest,
if the Beatles had an Apple Mac instead of Apple, That's the punchline.
That's it. But it was getting to the point where things were starting to malfunction a wee bit.
We did set up and do some live play in that day.
We did.
We set the mic up and I did the harmonica overdub.
that was all done
Was that
live.
you?
That's me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Great little bit of playing that, and we
Who would
were.
have thunk it?
I know.
I
We
used
were
to do.
happy
I used to. That was my first. Role in my first band. I only
Pre-bass,
played
yeah.
the bass because the bass player was off ill one day.
Yeah.
I knew that.
I was the harmonica player.
Right.
In a R&B band.
But it was getting crazy because the heat was so intense. Then things were sort of dropping in and out of the tracks as we were doing them.
Yeah,
We
it
were
was
sort of-
things were giving up, weren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, we
they
were down to the
just
point of like,
they
how
were
are we gonna
just
do this, you
they
know?
were just packing up.
Yeah. So it was
Yeah.
like when we recorded Bruce playing the harmonica, it was like, well, we haven't now got the whole track playing. We had to just go with like the drums. And
Oh
one
right, yeah,
guitar
things were
or
dropping
something,
in
you
and
know.
out and in and out. And I
Yeah.
just go, I think
So
it's this.
Bruce.
I just count 4. It's here and play them.
Go.
Go and then
And we
yeah.
captured it. Yeah.
And then
With you,
harmonica
Bruce.
went on last of all on that track because
Harmonica, sorry.
because we were waiting for it to come through the post.
Yeah, we were.
Oh,
That's
really?
true. That's true. Yeah.
And and
Yeah.
you ensured it was in the right key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had
Well, I was
we had a
guided
bit of you have to if you want to play an E, you've
So
got to
it's
buy
a fifth.
a harmonica
An A harmonica.
Yeah.
to play an
Right.
E. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that was it. Yeah, and then, as
Yeah.
you say, we were just waiting for it to turn up, and that kind of once that was there,
Yeah.
the process was complete.
And
Unless you're Bob Dylan. If you're Bob Dylan, you play
Whatever's
an A
there.
harmonica in A,
In A.
because you play that country style thing.
Yeah.
But if you want to play that other mode, which involves more sucking than blowing, if you pardon my French,
yes.
you then have to buy the tonic to play in the subdominant. So you buy an A harmonica to play an E. Yeah.
Yeah,
Returning to the harmonica after many, many years,
Yeah.
is it like playing a harmonica?
Yeah, is it like riding a bicycle?
It's like riding a bicycle.
No, I fell off twice actually.
Fell off the harmonica.
They're a very rudimentary instrument, but having said that, they take the same amount of skill as any other instrument
Absolutely.
to get it
Yeah.
to sound.
You
Yeah,
can be good
everybody
on it.
thinks, oh, it's easy.
It's
isn't
easy,
it?
just go.
Yeah.
You're
You
blowing,
just-
you're sucking it.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? And
Yeah.
there are a lot of people in a lot of bands taking that view, and you can tell,
I remember giving up the first time I used to work in a music shop, and someone said to me, it's easy to play one of these, just pick it up and blow through it. And then one of the guys in the other department came down and said, no, he said, you don't just do that, you do this.
Yeah, the bending of notes.
How do you do that?
and
Well, you can do all that.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
never did fit it. The best
Well, I'm
advice
not
he
little
gave me was-
Walter, really, but
He
But,
said you
uh,
have to kiss it. You have to kind of snog the harmonica to get that kind of. I don't know if that's right, but
well, yeah, I guess in a sense, yeah. I mean, but there's a lot of manipulation of
yeah.
vocal cavity and air pressure and
Right.
bits and hand position.
No,
and
it's
We are
Something
talking
like
about
that,
harmonica
Mars.
still.
We are,
yes.
yeah,
Right,
but
okay.
we're
just
just be-
double checking. Sorry.
or
Yeah,
gussets.
yeah.
It's a bit like playing the gusset.
Between
Twanging the
Yeah.
gusset.
between
There
your
you go.
Amazon purchase of the harmonica arriving
yeah.
and you
Playing
pressing record,
Yeah.
how long in between those two events?
Oh, I don't know. It was a month or so.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, so you had a bit of time to.
Oh, yeah, it was nestling.
It was clever, you see, because I got him. I said when I was
we're
going to
gonna
play the
need
best, I said
one.
we're going to need a harmonica. You better order one. So I
Yeah.
got him to order one. I said, "Oh, we'll use it next time."
Yeah.
But by that time, it had gone on his bill. You see, so
Yeah,
it was
and he kept it.
Oh, but hang on. But what about the whole no charge thing that you mentioned earlier?
oh well, I'm into him for a harmonica.
And he knows that I'm a multi-millionaire now. So,
Right.
Yeah,
there
so
we are.
there's no
Yeah.
chance
So
of
this
him
could
getting it.
possibly be the
The
last
secret's
interview.
out.
Yeah,
might give
I
you
owe
one.
him. I owe him for half a harmonica, which will be all the blow notes. You can have all the suck notes. I'll have all the blow
That'll
notes.
work. That'll work.
That'll
What a
work,
team,
won't
eh?
it? Eh?
We even do harmonica together. Fantastic. Is a place where I can go when I feel low, when I feel blue, and it's my mind, and there's no time
backstage once in a gig.
Yeah.
Very early when his nibs was in full bloody obnoxious punk mode, you know, obnoxious little shit and things. And Graham Nash came back to the dressing room and he starts talking to Elvis. He says, "Hey man, do you ever use open tuning?" He sort of looked as if to say, "What?" He says, "Hey man, it really puts your head in a different space." And I just,
Man.
you've never seen the look of disdain like it.
Can
Like,
you imagine? Yeah.
like, what's that on my shoe?
Can only imagine.
What was Graham Nash doing at a
I don't know. That's a point.
kind of
Yeah.
unlikely character.
No, they all turned up. They all turned up. Really, it's weird.
Mind
we
you,
used to get-
is that what led to the issue with Stephen Stills?
No, that was a completely different thing. But I mean, we
Nice
had.
idea, though. Very
we-
nice.
we-
Classic idea,
We had one. We
Wait
had
till you meet this
one
guy.
gig was this. "Hello, I'm a singer called Lulu," and he said, "Of course we know you're a singer called Lulu." Yet,
She felt she had to introduce
so
herself.
you know,
Wow.
yeah, it's weird. Anyway, I'm not enough name dropping. I
Oh God, you could drop.
I
names
could drop. I
forevermore.
tell you, I did have one. I did drop. I actually dropped myself to the floor once when.
You dropped your own
No,
name.
Jake came and said that there's 3 blokes here. I said, yeah. He says, Holland, Dozier, and Holland. God. I'm not worthy.
Genuflect.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're then meeting architects.
Wow. Yeah.
Musical architects.
Well, yeah,
Total hats off.
Wow.
yeah.
That must be something. God.
Well, they were just 3 blokes, and they looked mildly amused by the fact that I was, a complete.
Gobsmack. Yeah. Where
yeah.
is this then?
Some backstage, some gig or other. We've had him, Andy Warhol.
What was he like? I mean, quite
Exactly like just only because I saw a photo somewhere just now.
I've heard.
Just like you would imagine.
Yeah.
Like rabbit in the headlights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always gave that impression of being.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be hard pushed to get a word out of it.
Rabbit in the headlights.
Yeah.
Dodgy syrup.
Oh, the dodgy syrup. Yeah, of course.
Definitely
yeah.
dodgy syrup.
Yeah, that's part of the mystique.
Yeah.
The white.
Well,
wig.
then I guess if you don't say anything, no one can accuse you talking rubbish, can they? So.
Have you ever seen that really embarrassing bit of film of when Bowie was introduced to Warhol? Somebody captured it. Bowie was in his Man Who Sold the World,
his hat, yeah.
Drag kind of thing. And apparently the story went that he didn't know what to do, and they introduced him at the factory or somewhere, wherever it was, Andy's gaff, And Bowie sort of drops into this terrible mime, and he's the man feeling his way along the wall, and the look on Warhol's face is of like, what the hell have we got here, It's wonderful.
It's all right, these mime artists, but when I see them in the blooming high street, when I mime getting my wallet out and taking out an imaginary £10 note and putting it into their hat, they don't think that's funny at all.
Fail to see the
They
humour.
don't see the humour in that.
irony.
No.
Or sort of drop it and have it, become lost in the wind.
Yeah.
Did
Go and chase
you
that.
see that? They had a funeral for that famous mime artist the other day.
God.
Vicar got up and said, "There are no words."
Oh.
A joke for any occasion.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's just you can't just you've got to come up with them.
These are the jokes.
It's Bob
folks.
Monkhouse, isn't it?
Monkhouse. I saw him
I've got
once.
a
He
book
was
full
great.
of them.
Yeah.
You've got to think of them when they're relevant.
Yeah,
Not think, I
yeah.
wish they'd come up with
It's
me.
got to fit the occasion.
I wish I'd
doesn't
come up with me mime artist joke. It's too late, isn't it?
That footage is cringeworthy.
Isn't it?
And talking about cringeworthy footage, we were talking off pod about Charlie Watts dancing.
Well, just for the
busting a move and then some.
Just for the record, I mean,
Cutting a few shapes.
Yeah, oh God, doesn't he
Was
just?
it better than David Brent?
No, well, come on. You're looking at the king there, aren't you?
Right,
okay.
Are we in the same area, though?
Sort of, in terms of embarrassment, and yet there's a kind of a strange allure about it that you never feel quite the same about yourself again after it. The story went that he and Mick Jagger were going through a period of discoing down. They were going to Studio 54 together, and I know there's some truth in this because I've seen an interview where Charlie said, "Oh yeah, I like that era. It's good that me and Mick going out dancing and all that." Oh, okay. But apparently what happened was one of the places they went to was in Harlem, and it was one of these places where they had the full show, the big show with the dancing girls. They'd come out and do a show on the floor and all this, and it was all like, and then the next act would come up. And apparently Charlie was very taken with the sort of hip swivelling dance that the female dancers were doing. There's the clue. The
inspiration,
female.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm imagining what that dance style is like.
I can't demonstrate it. Just thank your lucky stars that I can't, because it would scar you. And
you're
I wouldn't
a perfect
want that
dancer for the radio.
I'm a very good dancer for the radio. I've got a good face for the radio too.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyway, he perfected this hip swivelling, vaguely erotic sort of thing that they were doing. Demonstrated it to Mick, who fell about and said, "God, that's exactly right." Whereupon it all goes completely out of proportion, and it's now and forevermore from that point a banned thing where they get Charlie to do a workout just before they go on stage, because it just absolutely floors all of them. And there are films of Keith saying, "Go on, do it." Keith Richards sort of prompting him to do it. They're standing behind the amps at some festival, and he sort of drops into this thing, and it's like, oh no, But yeah, it's Charlie Watts doing it.
And this is available on YouTube.
You'll find it.
Charlie Watts dancing.
Seek and ye will find
and
it.
It's out there. And it will be him getting ready to limber up.
In several different venues, like a festival or somewhere like in the Wings, you can spot it, and some enterprising cameraman has seen it and homed in on it. And every time it's accompanied by Keith Richards falling about, laughing and pointing at it. But it's not laughing at him because it's terrible. It's just great. It's like,
I can't imagine him dancing. It's Charlie Watts.
I know. Mr. Stoic, with that long sort of face and the one-word answers in interviews, and there he is giving it hell, basically in the Wings.
This is a man who has a disdain for hitting a hi-hat and a snare at the same time. How's he going to feel about doing some hip swaying?
I know. Very good, apparently. Very good and very free.
To see it. Yeah. And you'd also mentioned a rumour about him getting ready for a recording session.
Yeah, I don't know if it's one of these apocryphal things. I think it probably is true, but whether it is or not, don't care really, because it's just a great story. Apparently when the Stones were first in the studio, and the standard practice probably still goes on, that the engineer's trying to get a sound from everyone. Let's hear a bit of the bass, hear a bit of the guitar. Mick, give us a couple of, and then move on, and there's the kit.
Very good, by the way.
Thank you, yeah. And he said, "Okay, Charlie, just need you to run around the kit." And the rest of the band are, in a different room somewhere, not facing him. And they suddenly hear. And Keith says, "No, he's not, is he?" Goes into the studio downstairs, and there's Charlie. Yeah, running around the kit, round the outside. Yeah.
Sometimes taking things literally will.
Yeah, make you look a complete idiot. Yeah, and it did. Yeah, so forevermore, that one. Was apparently in folklore.
Unless he was having their last laugh.
Maybe he was. Maybe he knew.
Yeah.
It's kind of Trogs territory, though, isn't it? When you start getting into all that.
Don't get me started on that.
Don't go like that.
We can do. Oh, don't.
That was another thing.
Don't start.
It came up during the mixing.
We can do the whole thing.
Oh, you're doing your own moments.
Yeah, all the way through it.
I live in Wiltshire.
So of course, yeah, you'll have...
They're all like that
anyway. That accent.
Yeah.
You're in a Reg Presley.
Not far.
Inner and outer, yeah.
That is the number fucking one, and if that bastard don't go, then I'll fucking retire. I fucking do.
I think it is a good song. I agree, it is a good song.
But it fucking won't be unless we spend a little bit of fucking thought and imagination to fucking make it fucking number one. You've got to put a little bit of fucking fairy dust over the bastard. Look at,
We'll put some fairy dust over it. I'll piss over the tape.
I'm a fairy messer. Do you know what I mean? It's
You know.
I don't know what it needs then, but I know that it needs.
I know that it needs strings. That I do know.
Right.
But it was a lot of why don't you play it like you started out playing it and all that.
Did you have any Trogs moments that in your attractions days?
Well, we recorded in the same studio that Trogs tape was made in, which is DJM, Dick James Music, in Holborn or somewhere. And we were on to Trust, so we'd done wherever that came in the chronology. But I think his nibs was getting fed up of us using Eden Studios and various things, and so we decided to have a change of venue. So we had a hideous day in this concrete Führer bunker somewhere off the Fulham Palace Road with a neon strip lighting and and the amp set up in this concrete room painted black and things. So we ditched that. We went to DJM, the site of the famous Trogs recording session. And we had Martin Belmont with us doing some guitar, supplementary guitar work.
Mr. Nice Mountain.
Mr. Nice Mountain.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
from the book.
yeah. And now Martin, he'd come on the road with us a couple of times, stood in for when Steve Naive had been in a car accident and things like that, and he used to travel on our bus on occasion or whatever, so we used to hang out with him a bit. And one of the films we always used to watch when we were travelling was Dr. Strangelove, where Dr. Strangelove talks about life in the bunker after the bomb's gone off, and he says, women will have to be selected for their prodigious breeding qualities. Animals will be bred and slaughtered. So we're in DGM doing a song called Big Sister's Clothes, right? So which has the opening line, "Sheep to the slaughter."
No.
Sheep to the slaughter. So I catch his eyes and he catches mine eyes, and we both go, "Sheep to the slaughter." and thereafter, the whole bloody day was a write-off, because he's just like, yeah, very funny, calm down, and then sheep to the slaughter, and then tried doing it without him singing the line, and then coming in with the second line, and then, no, it was just... I don't know how we did it in the end.
I'm guessing you didn't see the funny side either.
Probably not. No. I mean, we've had you want like a serious fists flying and stuff, I know it's not right. That's playing it.
I always love that story you said about the session you did with Pete looking for a lady.
Oh, that, yeah.
Soul.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Well, I did this wasn't with Elvis. It's another funny one though.
Just take a minute.
Doing it with somebody who should perhaps remain nameless but the chorus of this song he'd done. He was a bass player, not doing a solo album. So he was the song's called Lady Soul. My soulful lady. I'm looking for my lady soul. I'm looking for my lady soul. And as it was going round and round at the end, it was, I'm looking for my lady soul. And as if, Pete Thompson, you can't say that. What do you mean you can't say that? What's the matter? It sounds like
What's wrong with that?
I'm looking for my lady soul.
Again, Gusset.
And that was it.
Gusset. Yeah, the epiphany that those lyrics might need some tweaking.
So that was another. I mean, I can't. I don't know if we've ever had a real, come to blows session. The Trogs didn't come. The Trogs didn't come to blows, did they? So
no, it's quite.
It was just like
really.
a heated argument.
Yeah,
I've seen a band come to blows once on stage. And it was fantastic. And it was so good.
I've seen a band come to blows every night now, because I did a tour with the Who.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the real deal.
Proper Barney.
Yeah.
How the hell did they keep it together for so many years, though? If they were arguing and fighting...
They loved each other in addition to all of that.
Yeah, well, that's just part of the dynamic, isn't it? Yeah.
But, I mean, you were saying it was like trashed furniture.
Oh, splintered. I mean, it looked like IKEA in reverse.
Oh, the band
Flat unpack.
Let's take this wardrobe a flat pack. Bosh.
The band that I saw having a fantastic argument. It was great. It was like in the middle of what was it? It was a competition for Melody Maker, and I'd gone along there just helping out a friend who had a bass player was ill or something. Yet again, slotting in on bass, and this band had a two lead singer arrangement. It had a bit like Vinegar Joe sort of idea,
right?
With I've forgotten their name now.
Who's
Elkie
that?
Brooks and
Vinegar Joe.
Yeah,
Elkie Brooks. Yeah.
Robert
Palmer. Robert Palmer.
Yeah.
Elk to her friends.
Elk. Yeah.
And I'm not kidding because a friend of mine knows her. And she calls
really?
A friend of mine calls her Elk. Yeah.
But somebody messed up something in this song. And the guitarist just walked over to the lead singer and said, "You know, you're
what,
playing
was Vinegar Joe that had
this band in the competition, but they had
I know them, yeah.
that kind of lineup, you know." And the guitarist just very determinedly, not in any rush, put his guitar in the stand, walked over to the singer and went
bop.
He played it effing wrong, you know. And the next thing, they went behind the curtain, though. This is what made it really funny. It was like Eric and Ernie. You can see all the punches over the curtain. Go. And everyone was thinking, is this part of the act? Nobody was sure. It brought the place down. There was this spontaneous
Well, they probably won the... Did they win?
No, they should have. I mean, my mate said, well, that's it. It's a complete... That's the end of the thing, isn't it?
They should have done that as an act, shouldn't they?
Yeah, it was a great act. Once only performance, though.
Yeah, they can't do that every night.
Well, in the days before YouTube and smartphones, he could have probably done a few tours on the basis of that.
That would have gone viral, wouldn't it? It was fantastic.
Mm.
But I'll forever see that curtain billowing in and out. And
that's fantastic. Your imagination has to fit...
what you see. I just remember what they were called as well. They even had a great name. They were called Spud.
Spud.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Perfect.
That's the behaviour you want from a band
You'd
named
expect
Spud.
it almost, wouldn't you? Yeah.
That's my new favourite band.
They were in Clockwork Orange outfits as well. White
boiler suits
and
bowler hats.
This is the gift that keeps giving.
Oh dear, we like them even more.
Yeah.
Spud.
And the only thing that I can remember about the song was it was called Plastic Houses. It was like a early punk sort of thing. Plastic houses.
Molly's a very big fan of Spud.
They're not at the door, are they? There's one of them.
No, she wants to settle a score. She wants to settle a score.
One of them's turned up selling the Watchtower.
Should do something about getting me home. Better yet, I should
seen any footage of a band called Brian Jonestown Massacre? There's a really good film about their career in tandem with the band, the Dandy Warhols.
And there's I wanted to see it. I've never seen it. I heard it's brilliant.
A brilliant documentary, rockumentary, if you will.
Yeah,
and
indeed.
there is a scene in which Anton Newcombe, the singer, gets into a fight with Matt Hollywood, I think is his name, manages to kick him and then bite him.
Wow.
And needless to say, that was, I think, Mr. Hollywood's last gig with the band.
Yeah, you'd think so.
But yeah, actual biting. I mean, there were bite marks which get shown.
That's serious
And
stuff.
yeah, this was, I think, rather than being for attention, this is drug-addled psychosis and paranoia and violent streaks for that matter.
Wow. That's everything you want, really, from a live band, isn't
indeed.
it? You know? There was that guy, Gigi Allen.
Gigi Allen, yes.
Well, hats off. If you're going to go, you know, in a live performance. Didn't he dive off the stage and run out into the street and got mowed down, didn't he? That's the story.
It was a drug overdose. But he would poo on stage.
There was a singer who got into a fight on stage. I thought it was
I've
Gigi.
known loads of bands that were crap on stage.
The thing that's great about
what? Hey, what you? Yeah.
The one thing about Gigi Allen that's quite amazing, if you see any of the live footage, is he would defecate on stage, but still
with
coming on time with the vocals.
Oh God, what a pro!
And also
what a Gusset.
He'd incorporate the fecal matter into the performance.
Oh, marvellous.
Yeah, there you go. A true professional.
The Murder Junkies, I think, are the name of his.
Life imitating farts.
Yeah,
you might
life
say.
imitating farts.
Yeah, but there was some story about a singer. I thought it was him. They finished the track with the song.
Did they ever put out an album of greatest shits?
Greatest shits, yeah. And he apparently ran straight through the crowd out into the street and got hit by a cab or something, and that was the end of it. But I always thought, what a bloody ending though that is, isn't it? That's real showbiz, isn't it? Yeah.
Real perspective.
Yeah, it's too much.
Too much
perspective.
Too much fucking perspective.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, since my baby left.
Don't go raga.
No, don't go
I think
raga.
it's in key as well.
Barbershop raga.
Whoever was mowed down, I think he was going to a performance of Somebody Up There Likes Me.
Oh, well.
Spinal Tap quote.
Let's hope.
Doesn't get referenced that much. But
let's hope so.
Is it Stiv Bators that got hit by a cab?
Who?
Stiv Bators.
The Dead Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been, actually.
Did he?
I think it was. I think that is... Stiff Bators now.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm here all week. Try the fish.
Bruce will have a joke on it, come on. Out with it. The one thing which loads and loads of people will ask about, but I won't, and you can choose to ignore the question, is the album is out, people can get it, and there'll be links to where you can purchase and listen to the album. But the one question which I'm not going to ask is, will we ever be able to enjoy live interpretations of these songs involving you both and other people playing in tandem?
No.
No. So you're doing a post. I haven't asked the question, so it doesn't matter.
Perfect timing there. I thought if I just leave that, I know that he won't let me down, and you didn't.
Nah. So you're doing it's all post Rubber Soul.
I can't imagine because the logistics of a touring band. If you start going beyond being a folk duo like Bob Dylan was. Ethnic joke. Yeah.
There's a Zimmer man in it for you.
Yeah, Zimmer frame.
Zimmer frame. And a harmonica in the same key that I'm playing
in the tonic. Yeah. The logistics of. I mean, the first thing is, if somebody goes and sings and plays acoustic guitar, the first thing a bass does to it is make everything sound out of tune, and the bass sound out of time. So,
what are you thinking,
unless you need then a drummer, and then you need a keyboard player, and then you need a van, and then you need a road crew, and then you need a sound mixer, then you need lighting, then you need drivers and humpers, and then you need hotel rooms for 10 people, and all of a sudden he can go out in a car with his acoustic and collect some dosh, but as soon as you go into the band dynamic, I know people that work on both sides of the business these days, and the ones that go out with their acoustics on their own make 10 times more than anybody who tries to go out in a band. And that's the simple, you know.
There's another side to it, though, that in all honesty, I think if it was me and another unknown, then I'd say probably unequivocal yes. I would.
But then you wouldn't have done the songs. You wouldn't have done the songs the way you do them
no, exactly.
either.
None of that would apply. So I wouldn't have an album to promote. So yeah, I mean, it cuts both ways, because the thing is, obviously, for Bruce to do it, it would be a step backwards, really, at the level that we'd have to start. It would be going all the way back again.
It wouldn't matter if it was a proper job, if it was a proper band. But I mean, there's just no point in doing it half-assed, is there?
We need a promoter now to sort of come forward and say,
if somebody, if a record company picked a record up and started saying, and it all went to a different level, fine. But at the moment, it wouldn't
make sense, really.
It's as you said earlier. It's me. I just want to show people I can still do it, because it could be without trying to hedge round it. I need, if somebody else might say, oh, you can have a job, and give me a job, and then I can say, what about getting my mate on as a, and we can we can be our own support band or whoever. There's all sorts of ways. I did it as I just stuck my head over the parapet, basically, again, because, people on Facebook are going on about things I played 30 years ago or whatever, and I'm thinking, I know it's good, but I don't want to just live as if that's all I've ever done. I can still do it, and that's apart from the books and everything, which is a whole nother thing, but so if it leads to anything, for me or Spencer or both of us individually or together, then fine. But you can't, it's like the songs, you can't map out how it's going to happen, how people are going to respond, what you're going to do. It's like when we started the project, we didn't know we'd end up here talking to you, for instance. Oh, let's do these albums, and we'll end up and go and talk to Andy, and it's just so who knows how it's going. People are just picking up on it. We thought it'd be like instantly people would go, that it takes a while for some of my supporters, if you like, on Facebook to start telling their friends to buy it, and me starting to do interviews about it and stuff like that. It's not like the old days where you do an album launch or a book launch or everything. Things kind of come out. I liken the world to a global village hall. You go to a village, you sell your jam, and then you go off to the market in Devizes the next day and do the same. It's gradually it's percolating through to sort of tribes or small, it's the 6 degrees of separation thing, if you like, that somebody will tell someone else.
I suppose in a lot of ways it's gone back to what how music was pre-music.
It's gone. Back to the start.
Back to the start.
Yes, we got there. But I mean, the whole idea of sort of music as being like in the air and being the property of everybody, and as you say, going from village to village kind of thing is back to the. Literally back to the old ways, isn't it? Of sort of music as folk music.
We couldn't have done it if it wasn't just a labour of love anyway.
Well, no.
I mean, the amount of time we put into it and thought and everything, and I'm just there's no better fun than making a record or getting a song together and having that at the end of it, even if it's just for me. I'm glad I did it,
that's
so. But I'm just being pure. I was if it's just for me, I'm glad I did it. So because it makes me feel better about myself, if you like, and if anybody else gets it, then good.
And it makes the listener feel better doing it, because it's a fantastic album.
Thank you.
Really, really tuneful.
It's great fun to make, and I really loved it. I'm really proud of it. And the other thing is, for me, it's a sort of a validation of like, well, thank God I wasn't like completely clueless.
You weren't wrong. No, I can
know.
actually write songs and sing.
Yeah. So it's been great for me. It's been a really nice discovery as well. That like I say, you can do it. It can be done.
And also, it sounds as though you went from being bitter to being
twisted.
Very, very bitter to twisted
a single bound.
Twisted and positive.
Yeah, no, it was. It's like I was saying earlier, that it's been a big change in my outlook as well, because, there was a little bit of a sort of, well, why not me? I'm not that bad. Surely I could have, done X, Y, Z. And you feel a bit, But then doing this has been great because it gets it out of your system, and you think, well, we've made an album that I'm really proud of here. And also, it's been, meeting Bruce has been a whole new thing and given me a whole new outlook, mainly because of the things we've worked on. And not only the things that we've discussed, but the proof as you apply it to what you're doing, that things do go right when you think about it. You expect them to go right. There is a truth to that, and we've kind of proved it, basically. There it is,
And in terms of going back to the start...
Yes.
A really good way to end our conversation is to talk about your musical lineage.
Mine?
Spencer.
Okay.
But
Apparently.
This is your first time on the Dukey Radio Show.
Yes.
And you were telling me before we kicked off the recording and decided to, run around the microphone to see if they were working. You're telling me about your parents' respective careers in the musical history, and the fact that also that your son is a person of note as well.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the start.
Let it rip, hey?
Yes.
Yeah, back to the start for me then would be that my dad was a jazz trumpeter and played with quite a few people, 40s to 50s that were quite notable, including like the Ted Heath Orchestra, and he played a few weeks with Tubby Hayes Quintet or Quartet, I think. And they were one of these sort of people, seemed to be cropping up most weeks on a Friday, Saturday night, would come round to ours and a few beers would be had, so he was quite in with all these people, and actually he won the best lead trumpet one year. I didn't even know this until I found his Melody Maker certificate hidden away in a drawer when I was living with him at home.
Did he tell me he played with Pete Townsend's dad?
Well, yeah, that was my mum.
Oh, it was your mum, was it?
Singer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
No, well, that was the thing, that you're quite right, that mum was singer with the Extraordinaires.
Oh, right.
For a while
Cliff Townsend.
Cliff Townsend.
Yeah. She was going out with Cliff Townsend for a little while to my dad.
Used to smash his saxophone every night.
Probably over my dad's head, yeah.
Do windmills.
Yeah, so that was them. They did all this. My mum had a chance to go for a BBC show, actually, but she was a bit on the nervous side about this sort of thing. And I don't think she had the confidence to think that she could sort of do it. And unfortunately, she turned it down, which is a bit of a shame. Then comes yours truly in the middle there somewhere. Now my son has got a great band called Cries Wolf, who are about to have their sort of second go round, because they came out a few years ago now and really made quite a splash. They had a couple of labels vying for them. For some reason, I think it was more to do with sort of work and location. They all kind of drifted into different things. My son's also, like Bruce was, a commercial artist as well. And of late, they're putting it all back together again, writing some amazing material, which has been really flooring me, actually. They're going for another EP soon. I think they've got 3 of 4 songs done. And
tell them we'll use all their offcuts.
Yeah, we'll have everything they don't want.
You'll have it.
We can make use of that.
We'll have them. We can sort them out.
Yeah, we'll find a
He owes you
home
his
for
life,
them.
really. I mean...
But yeah, there's that kind of line going through the family, for good or bad. It's the curse of music was upon us from an early age. But yeah, so that's the story.
So it's back to the start.
Back to the start, indeed. Yeah.
And this album has just come out. Dare I ask if there, is there the pitter and patter of a future release, possibly in the
I don't know.
The Steely Dan
I
vein?
think if we started working on new material, we'd stop. We wouldn't have our attention on trying to get this one going,
God forbid you have to
moving.
promote this.
We've got to get this going,
to
and then at least set the precedent for something else. See if there's anybody actually wants another one as well.
I've got a couple of songs I'm working on now. We've already looked at, and there's some possibilities. It would be a different direction.
And
again,
I don't think we'd want to do a similar kind of album anyway.
No.
I think we'd, and then we'd have to. I think we'd probably do something more. That's why I say, I'm not joking about having any spare songs, because we could probably be good to have somebody who wrote in a more modern genre or something, or different, with a different mindset and do a cover or two, or whatever.
But it's funny because the things that I've been writing subsequent to that are totally different in feel and would probably lend themselves. Funny enough, there was a review we had where somebody ended by saying, perhaps next time they'll go in a more grandiose kind of thing. Well, I've been thinking Queen. Yeah, well, Queen. Oddly enough, there was something that
multi-track those guitars.
Well, maybe, but I mean that kind of.
We had a Tosca-like song in the offing, didn't we, at one point?
There's stuff. There's possibly. I mean, it's that or my harmonica album.
Yeah, we could do that. I think there's a market for a harmonica solo album. Yeah, definitely. Well, so we keep that in mind as well. Yeah. So watch this space.
So there's the bottom line is you've got albums and concepts in the offing, and it's just a matter of time.
Well, it might just be songs. It might not be. It might not be a theme there. It might be. Who can say? Who
can say? But there's possibilities, as we were saying earlier, that it might be that it leads to work for us individually, which I'm pretty sure we'd pull each other in on, as long as there was a market for that in some way, or an opportunity, I should say, for that. But I think also, if this goes well, it's obvious that we always sort of work together on something else.
Somebody might ask Spencer to write songs for them, which would leave me out of the picture. I'd be delighted if he did, or we could end up working on someone's project, arranging and producing and engineering. Anything could happen, but at the moment, this is what we are, where we are, and we're open to suggestions,
open to offers,
producers, labels.
Yeah.
Any concern with large amounts of money?
Yeah, that's a key thing.
Please step this way.
Anything that doesn't make sense.
I like the sounds.
Yeah.
Very much.
Anybody makes me an offer I can't understand, I'm interested.
Yeah, I feel much the same. I'd need
I'm
it
right
explained
behind you,
to me.
Bruce.
Yeah.
In addition to iTunes and being able to stream the album, will there be a physical release?
Yeah, it is available on CD if you want it physically, but we are working on vinyl release as well.
Right.
And that's imminent. I'm just speaking to the bloke who does them.
Right. Is that bloke in the Czech Republic or Germany?
I don't know where. No, he's in England. He's British.
So vinyl production has returned to these shores.
Oh, I don't know where the press. But mind you, a lot of record companies are starting to press again, aren't they? Like Sony and things. So so they're reopening their pressing plants. So yeah. See what we started?
Indeed, yes. So
we've begun the revolution.
A revolution at 33 and a third RPM.
Hey.
No, listen, I think you go. 78. That's going to be the future.
Wow.
And
the
cylinders.
Old, shellac.
Yes.
Yeah. Those really brittle records.
Cylinders.
Yes, wax cylinders.
Wax cylinders.
Now you're talking.
Wow. Master's voice.
We're going to do them, but I don't know if there'll be much call for them.
No. Not many people have got the players anymore. Then there's crystal radio sets. That'll be the next thing that you'll have to tune into to hear the wax cylinder.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Or something.
God forbid people just performing in your parlour.
Good Lord. What a concept. What, doing a tour of
you
Wow.
laugh, but I know there are quite a few artists
starting to happen now.
Go round and play in mega fans' front rooms, 10 of them, and charge them whatever.
Yeah. I was just going to
say with VIP ticketing.
Private gigs,
There is a lot of that going on. Well, so in a way, it is really going back to the start, though. Music is becoming a different kind of commodity.
Yeah, you've gone the route of the massive corporate gigs that the Stones and the Who were doing, and now it's down to sort of, like you said, parlour.
Parlour.
Yeah, ultimately, digitisation changed everything, hasn't it? Including, especially music.
Yeah.
So we talked about Pavlovian types of reactions. This would be a Parlovian.
Yeah,
it didn't quite land.
It was a good thought.
On that note, Bruce and Spencer, thanks a million. A bundle and 3/4 to be precise, for gracing the Dukey Radio Show with your respective presence.
Pleasure. Thank you for having us. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Thanks very much indeed.
I'll be back.
Well, that is indeed your lot. Gussets, epiphanies, and vaginal hair maintenance. It's more than just the undercarriage, it's a way of life. You've been listening to part 2 of our 2-part interview with Spencer Brown and Bruce Thomas. My name is Dukey and I've been your host. Until next time, may the worst of tomorrow be the best of yesterday. Now it's time for me to go and pop my weasel. Thanks for listening.
Half a pound of tuppenny rice, half a pound of treacle. That's the way the money goes. Pop goes the weasel.
Facebook. Click on your mouse to our Facebook page. Facebook. It's easy to find, it will not take an age. Facebook. www.facebook.com/. The Dukey Radio Show, the Dukey Radio Show. The thin white Dukey is right. Click your way to the Dukey Radio Show Facebook page. www.facebook.com/The Dukey Radio Show. The Dukey Radio Show, the Dukey Radio Show.